and uplift women started a long time ago. It started through my celebrity TV show, The Basia Show. I quickly realized that my purpose was so much more than simply interviewing celebrities. I've always wanted to build a global network to elevate women, but I was afraid. So one day, I realized that I already had the platform, and I just needed to be my authentic, vulnerable self. So I decided to call up some queens from around the world, and they all agreed to pull up. That was the moment we launched the Ask Basia video podcast, and we're just getting started. We're going to change this game. We're going to teach women how to treat each other and how to treat themselves right. You feel me?
Hey guys, it's your girl Basia. What's up? You know, it's Tuesday when you see my face and these beautiful faces. Welcome to the Ask Basia video podcast. Today we're talking about digital dating. Yeah. And according to Psychology Today, they estimate that by the year 2040, 70% of couples will meet online. You hear me? Now, that is believable. Because based on what's going on with this pandemic, we may not have a choice. Some of us might be getting divorced online, but sorry, bad joke. So today I'm joined by some of my leading ladies on the Ask Basia podcast from around the world. And as you know, the Ask Basia podcast, on the Ask Basia podcast, queens pull up from everywhere. We're global. We have New York City in the house. We have Sweden in the house. We have India in the house. We have LA in the house, Tennessee's in the building, and Georgia and Trinidad and Tobago representing. My queens pull up from all over the world, and we're just getting started. So before we start the show, I just want to go through, just give you a little idea of the credentials of these amazing women who I call queens because they're heavy hitters. You can't call such women anything else but queens. So we're starting with Dr. Dryana Eastman. I'm going in order of my window. Dr. Dryana Eastman is based in Tennessee. She's a native of Trinidad and Tobago who believes in the importance of pursuing your dreams. Her career path has included communication and public relation experiences with state and international agencies such as the United Nations. At present, she's an assistant professor of communication and single mother of a tenacious 14-year-old girl. An avid writer, she shares her thoughts and musings on motherhood, singleness, dating, and more on her blog, Successful Mom. In her spare time, she hikes mountain trails and plan events. And most of all, she wants you to know she's a woman of God. We go next to India, my girl. Welcome back. My girl, Sanjoni Sethi, is in the building, and she's based in India. She's a psychologist and mental health scholar. She's completed her master's program in clinical psychology from Christ College, Bangalore. Did I say that right? That's the word I forgot. Bangalore, and bachelor's in psychology honors from Delhi University. Currently, she's an MPhil scholar studying clinical psychology. She has worked under a prestigious global banner of Amity. She was employed at Amity International School, Gurgaon, as a school scholar counselor. Sanjoni shows great interest in research in the area of mental health. She has worked with underprivileged children on topics of emotions and societal influence, and with elderly population on depression. Her research work is published in eminent journals from USA, UGC approved publishers. She is a recipient of the Ariel Award winner as the Best Revolutionist 2018 for her paper, Societal Influence on Emotional Competence. She's also deeply involved in writing for her mental health blog known as The Madness for Real. I love it. Welcome back, Queen. And then we go to one of my favorites. Vanessa Anderson is in the building. She's based in the UK, guys, and she's currently in Sweden. You don't know where this queen is going to pull up from. Let me tell you about Vanessa Anderson. Today, she's in Sweden. Full stop. She is also, apart from a jet setter, she's also a senior cloud solution at Microsoft and has 23 years of experience. working in information technology. Besides working on cloud digital transformation projects, Vanessa is a lifelong learner. She is passionate about the empowerment of the community and spends her time mentoring and inspiring others. And for fun, she enjoys traveling the globe. And that's a fact. Welcome and welcome. And
thank you.
We go next to our resident dating expert on the panel today. My girl, Whitney Marshall, is coming to us from New York City. Attorney at law based in New York City, Whitney Marshall is an entertainment lawyer by day and dating coach by night. She's the founder of Yes to 50, a dating accountability group she started in 2009 before COVID-19 pandemic. You were prolific, Queen. As the leader of Yes to 50, she has established a shameless dating brand where she encourages women to get in touch with who they are, accept their flaws and relationship needs, and put themselves out there so they can find their perfect partners. She's the daughter of Jamaicans from St. Elizabeth and Kingston and enjoys spending time reading psychology and dating books. And last, but by no means least, y'all, give it up for my girl, my first Latina on the panel, my first actress on the panel, my girl, Ariel Paredes, coming in from Los Angeles, California. Ariel is a writer, actor, stand-up comedian. She has developed years of experience with published work covering press junkets, travel pieces, and art and entertainment. Also, having performed all over Los Angeles at the famed Laugh Factory and the Comedy Store, she reflected herself in comedy by creating her own culturally diverse female-driven show called It's Not Me, It's Definitely You. A graduate of Boston College, she used her business skill set from working at HBO to take that to the next level in her own personal endeavors, creating new and exciting content. Give it up for my girl, Ariel.
Hey guys.
Ladies, welcome. It's a tongue twister. I don't care. We need to let the people know who they're dealing with. They're dealing with queens. Oh. How y'all feeling today? How y'all feeling today?
Good.
I'm so excited. I get a dose of excitement once I turn on those lights and I see all these ladies, and I'm happy. But today, I am so excited as a woman who is not on the market, and I am trying to be on the market anytime soon. I am so excited to talk about digital dating because, you know, I get to live vicariously through some of these queens who are on the dating scene, and I ain't mad about that. I'm gonna need a little excitement. So, for all the future bachelorettes and bachelors, Whitney Marshall, you are a dating expert. So I'm starting with you.
Let us know, please.
Is digital dating the future? Should we all set up electronic dating profile, myself included, just in case I need it? Talk to me.
Yes. A million times yes. We
Wow.
have no choice.
Why?
That's just the nature of how people meet these days, especially now during the pandemic, right? So I like to think of dating apps as services you use to be introduced to potential mates.
That's a nice way to put it.
Service. So I have a lot to say about the dating apps, but yes, it is the future. It's the present. It is the future. It's not going anywhere.
I'm going to my Latina next because my girl is up in LA there, and you know, things are a little different up in Los Angeles, California. Tell us, is this the future?
Yes, absolutely. I've met an ex that way. I mean, I had a friend who went on a date last night and was some Frenchie, you know, and it's very, you laugh at the show 90 Day Fiance and you think, how's that possible? Whatever. But like, it is. It's very, like we're all looking for our person. It's just.
So online is where it's at.
And I'm not crazy about it, but yes, it's where it's at. You know what I mean? Because you should see these men's pictures, these profiles.
Please describe.
You should come up with a company that like helps men pick an appropriate profile picture. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just screenshot a picture of this man who had a cactus in front of him as like a very phallic. And I was like, Who is it for? Like, who is this? Like, you know what? He's my dude. He's my guy. I don't know.
I told y'all she was funny. I told y'all I had a treat for you today.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? Who's single? I'm single, so I don't know if you're even on these apps. But okay, yes,
I'm
you know what
single.
I'm talking about.
I'm single too.
Okay.
Full disclosure, the only happily married woman on this panel would be myself and Sanjoni Sethi. So,
Nice.
Sanjoni, let's go to you. Not from a personal perspective, because you're sorted, but from a perspective, from a culture, India specifically, that is not really leaned towards even what we consider to be the traditional type of dating. For the most part, for the years that I was growing up, it was common knowledge that in India, you have arranged marriages. So ain't nobody, but they're the ones ruling the technology world. They're the ones setting up all of these dating apps. What's going on?
Yeah, so definitely the way of socializing, and the medium of socializing, especially virtual dating, has come up in India as well. But I do believe there are a lot of research papers that still talk about how, the virtual dating provides more opportunity for open relationship and the hookup culture in India. However, people still prefer, when they look up long-term relationship and finding a partner, they would go the conventional or the traditional way of approaching for marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference.
So you're saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but did you just say that perhaps the Indians who are using the technology for dating is for the hookup culture, not for marriage?
Yes, in India, mostly the idea of using a virtual dating app is mostly for an open relationship and to promote and enhance the more open hookup culture. And
Wow.
very rarely do you listen about how, people have ended up getting married. And I know a friend of mine doing so on Friday. So
And that person found their partner on digital dating?
yes.
So it's happening. It's not as widespread. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Well, good for her or him. I don't know who it is. But Vanessa Anderson, you operate between the UK and Sweden. What's the 411 out there with the digital dating?
So with regards to digital dating, I believe in having options, but similarly to Sanjoni, I believe it's like sort of like a sport. You want quick gratification, like swipe. Oh, yes. However, if you're looking for something a little more long-term and with substance, personally, that's just my preference.
Yeah.
My preference is a conventional, taking the conventional route. However, I have personal friends who have found their spouses and are happily married today.
I know,
and that's like over 15 years or what was it? eHarmony. What was it first? I forgot what was it first, so it is possible. I think it's it's based on your personality as well, right? It's kind of like, with the dating apps, it's like going on an audition for a Broadway show. You put on your best act, it's quick gratification. But if you're looking for something a little more with substance and to keep you, interested, I mean, marriage at the end of the day, it's like supposedly lifelong, right? So it's like, do I want to commit to this person? 15, you literally look at the person and you're like, do you see yourself 15 years in?
I don't like how you all bashing this digital dating thing. I'm trying to keep it open. No, but that's your perspective, and you certainly need to bring
options.
that. Yeah,
it's definitely
for me, I'm keeping an open mind. I'm keeping an open mind.
Yes.
After this show, I'm gonna set up my profile. Please don't tell my husband. No, but Dr. Eastman, let's see what the professor has to say about this, because not only is the professor single and available and eligible, but the professor is dealing with a lot of Gen Zs and all these categories of the next generation. And what's the temperature in Tennessee? What do you have to say about this? Like, is this something that you think, one, is the future, is a viable way? That's it. Talk to us.
Definitely, I think it's the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially among the younger generation, as Sanjoni mentioned, it is a hookup culture thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the young people, even when I talk to them, they say, yeah, that's the only way to meet other people.
Mm-hmm.
For me, though, I would say it's not my first choice. I've had friends, just like Vanessa said, who have been successful with their online dating, and they
I know
have
lots
met
of people.
persons that that they had long-term relationships with. But just like Ariel Paredes said, the profile pic, OMG, right? That is like men take pictures from the
That's
top,
the best part.
like this,
What is it? The cactus?
and the cactus.
Yeah.
When you see them in real, like I saw one of my friends when she finally met her online partner. I saw him first, and I had to warn her. I was like, he's not.
Yeah.
It is the wave of the future, but it's not for me.
Okay. I think if I were advising some of our tech experts, I would say let these people put videos. Videos are much harder to edit.
You can do videos on some of the apps now.
Yeah, well, I would only choose the ones with videos because let me tell you, you can do a lot with pictures, huh?
I can chime in too when it comes to the pictures. So one thing I advise my ladies, one thing I tell them when I'm advising them is to expect 80% of the men you end up meeting in person to be about 2 inches shorter than they are on their profile.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's a great tip.
Whitney Marshall, you were literally, I was about to say, whatever their height is, subtract 2 inches.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Are you serious?
5'10", not 5'10".
Wow. Because they want to fit into the stigma of tall, dark, and handsome, I guess.
Yeah, people think the taller you are, the better.
Yeah.
But, I want to go back to Whitney Marshall before we're going to take it round table. I liked how you summarize the experience of digital dating, right? Basically, it's you're not gonna not buy something online because you could go to the store. The same way you go on the Amazons and so on and the Wayfairs and the Overstock and you choose something. Sometimes it comes, it don't fit you right. You send it back to Fashion Nova.
Exactly.
And then, so I'm saying if we were to think about it as a menu to make an ultimate selection, I ain't see nothing wrong with it. I think it's very convenient.
Yes.
Now,
absolutely.
that menu should have a wish list too. See for future reference.
I am not mad at that because the thing about it is that I know it's not for everybody. Okay, let's talk about those of us who came out of a more traditional culture. I like to say we came at the end of the traditional culture, not to age us, right? And we really did. We really did because we're keeping up. But for those of us who came at the end, what I want us to understand is that we were the ones who started off using typewriters. Would we go back to the typewriter now? No, because the computer and the iPad does a much better job. So I think we have to be a little more open-minded because you can't go somewhere and fish where there ain't no water. Right? No, not everybody good at fishing. Right? Some people
I need better bait.
Some people you need better bait. Well, I think I would trust
bait.
You know the kind that I like? I want and I think Ariel will be able to understand this, especially in the Hollywood culture. I am a fancy girl, right? I need somebody to bring me a menu. And then I am going to choose out of that menu and say, go interview them for me.
Yeah, so you're comparing that to dating, hoping that that's what you've not been on an app. Yeah. So I wish it were that,
Thankfully.
Yes, be blessed. I mean, yes, if there are specifications like height, you can put in kind of what you want, but sometimes these people, they'll sneak through still, and you're like, you are not in my height requirement. You are not in any sort of my category.
So they don't put a true representation of who they are.
Oh, hello. Wait, how did I forget this? Okay, Whitney Marshall, because the age. Okay, so people lie so much about their age, which I get, but like this man said that he was like 35, and I was like, you are pushing 50 on a good day. So it's just, you know what I mean? It's like, and I understand because they would be out of our algorithm. So in order to change the algorithm, they put their age, but it's like, and there's just so many things. There's so many. It's good and bad. It's good and bad.
Listen, ladies, you know what you're making me feel to do? You're making me feel, after this podcast is finished, to go and create a hot bath and sprinkle roses and then when my husband comes to the door, I need to wipe his feet and cook him an 8-course meal because I don't think I'm appreciating what I have.
Yes.
Seriously, like I think I need to treat this man like he lives in a kingdom because I would be so terrified to press anything on an app right now. Do you feel me, Sanjoni? It's hard. Mm-hmm.
So, even though I'm from India and I got married the traditional way, although I met my partner and we dated, and it's a love marriage, it's not the typical Indian marriage.
Very important.
And we don't fulfill any of the conventional norms. So
no, they don't.
We have an age gap. I'm extremely overly qualified for my education. My partner's barely completed his graduation, and he's he's
Pearl up. That is not fair to your partner. Let us be very clear.
He jokes about it. So
on the basis of jokes, he's a very famous comedian. She doesn't like me to talk about it, but if you're going to talk about his credentials, we need to talk about the fact that he is one of the most famous comedians in India. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah, so he's got a celebrity status, and here he's got a partner who doesn't like to be on camera or TV that much.
She doesn't.
So we don't fulfill any of the conventional Indian dating or marriage norms. But I would still not prefer to go via the virtual dating app. And I'll just point out here.
Why? Tell us why.
Again, Basia, coming from a very culturally oriented perspective in India, safety and the kind of cyber fraud that's happening, that's a very, very major concern for me, especially for the generation
that
Z
would
that's
fine
coming
as
up.
well. Yeah.
And when I move ahead of that, I think we're forgetting about the most in-person contact, the emotional bond. My top list priority to be with a partner or to even date someone. And I think that kind of is disrupted when I get into virtual dating. So,
I feel you. And honestly, putting all jokes aside, the 2 inches shorter, those things don't really trouble me. What troubles me is the fear of, the cybersecurity aspect of it. I'd be afraid if this person could harm me. No, actually, gingivitis does trouble me.
Gingivitis.
I am a freak when it comes to dental hygiene and hygiene as a whole. So,
personal hygiene period.
Yeah, hygiene period will trouble me, right? Because how do you get to smell him through the picture? Anyway, I'm just kidding.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to hear from Whitney Marshall. Yes to 50, because obviously this has worked for you, or you've helped a lot of ladies along the way. So I want you to tell us about what Yes to 50 does and how your success stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. So I started Yes to 50 in 2019. And this is, basically I was talking with one of my friends who was a newlywed at the time, who met her husband on Tinder. And she was like, Whitney, dating, it's just a numbers game. So we're these like hot girls in Manhattan, and this is what she's there telling me at the bar. And I'm like, it's a numbers game. Okay. So then she was like, yeah, just like go on like 50 first dates. And so that's how Yes to 50 was born. So
it had nothing to do with the age of 50.
No. So
Okay.
what I did is I got together a group of 10 of my good friends in the city who are hot, have great careers, have everything going for them. And these are women who just want a relationship and want to find their forever partner. And so we got together and we all committed to going on 50 first dates in 2020. And that's, I mean,
and
any success stories? We want to know the success stories.
Okay, so what I will say, well, the question is, how do you define success? Nobody is married yet.
Okay.
But
in a lasting relationship.
So so it's actually been very interesting. Of the 10 women in the first class, 3 of them are currently in serious relationships.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. And
3 out of 10?
Yeah.
That's not good enough for me, Whitney Marshall. I am serious about my figures. I'm really good at math. That is not good enough for me. Yeah, but go ahead.
But the thing is people in the group went from literally going on 0 to 5 dates the year before to literally going on 400% more dates the following year when they were part of the group. And so the purpose of the group is to just get people out there. And 50 is the number because they say on average it takes about 25 first dates to meet your person, but 50 is the number just in case you need some extra time. And then also, I got together a group of overachievers, and it's nice to have a target to aim for. And that's what we did. And so I have another group of women right now, and everybody's doing a great job going on dates, even during the pandemic. Oh. So that's what Yes to 50 is. So we meet every other week to talk about different themes and things like that. And the purpose is just to keep each other encouraged and dating.
Okay. Ariel.
So yes, thank you. Whitney Marshall. So were all these dates, were any of them organic, or were they all online through different digital apps, and were some more successful than others? This is, because there's so many different digital apps. So it was kind of like, where did they want to go? I don't know if I'm allowed to name them, but there's Bumble, which is,
you can.
Okay, Bumble, and where the women take the lead, or Hinge, where it's an app meant to be deleted, Raya, where it's you have to be invited, Bagel Meets Coffee. There are so many. So please, I'm fascinated.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to help our sisters out. Let's go.
Yeah.
Which one? Yeah. Which one has the premium prospects?
Vanessa Anderson wants to know.
The world wants to know.
Yeah. So
I don't want to know.
So what I will say is, I encourage the women to meet men however they can. So some, myself included. So I participate in this too.
Full disclosure.
People meet people in person, and I have people make a list of friends, family members they know who they think are cool, and I have them ask them to introduce. I ask them to ask them who they know, who can be introduced to them in person. Yeah. But most of the dates come from online. So I have the women pick their 2 favorite apps, and so usually people go with Hinge. Most people have had success with Hinge, and I can speak personally. I've had the most success with Hinge, finding boyfriends. And then,
so Hinge, you better tell us thank you, because it's the first time I've heard about you. So
Hinge.
You're welcome, Hinge. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then also Coffee Meets Bagel, a lot of people have success with, surprisingly. Bumble, not so much. But people are, they're on it. And then, of course, I encourage everybody to join Tinder. Tinder is great because everybody's on it, whether it's somebody who's looking to hook up or it's somebody who's looking for a serious relationship. Because that's one of the older ones, that's one that people tend to just go to first. And I actually know. So I have a lot of friends who've actually gotten married as a result of partners online, and Tinder is the leading app.
Ariel, have you been on Tinder?
I when it came out initially, I was on Tinder, and that's how I had met my ex on Tinder. It didn't last. I mean, we were together for a couple of years, but
then it was a fruitful.
It was. But here's my question. So Tinder to me felt like it changed, though. Like it became kind of like Grindr for straight people. Grindr, right? So do you know what I mean? It felt very much like, yes, I know. Grindr is for gay men, and it's very much like, you're around the corner, let's hook up. So I feel like Tinder started to take a turn to that.
Well, we need to have these LA people on our podcast. Go, we don't know what's up.
So funny, Grindr. I don't know if Tinder felt that way to me, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like it went through a phase, but I think it has bounced back.
Okay, so I have a question for all of you. Everyone, I just need you to answer this question for me because I'm listening to what is definitely a revolutionary shift in dating. I mean, I am trying to keep composed. I have never been exposed to this type of discussion. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's a rude awakening for me, right? Old school. But if you had to answer me and tell me what your preference for finding your partner would be for dating, what would be your preference? Starting with Sanjoni Sethi, what would be your preference for finding a partner? Even if people were having amazing success rates with digital dating, what would be your preference?
Meet them via friends, or meet them in person. Maybe bumped in a party, or have walked together.
Yes,
I need to see the person before.
That would be your preference.
Yeah.
Vanessa Anderson, what would be your preference?
Similarly, I need to see someone. It doesn't need to be an initial setup. So through mutual friends or flirting.
Yes.
Naturally flirting.
Yes.
I need to see that person has like natural confidence in themselves, and they're not
there's a spark
on the exactly. So I go on energy. So again, it needs to be in person, and there needs to be some sort of connection, and that energy, I need that in order to respond and reciprocate some sort of interest. So
Dr. Eastman,
I guess I'm archaic.
No, you're not. You're not. Nobody is anyway because of their preference. This is how people develop apps and technology. They have to do the research and find out what the consumer wants. I'm doing my research because I need to know if deep down inside, even women who are using the platform, if that's what they really want. I just need to know. Dr. Eastman.
So my preference is going to be in person, but I will say that I am open to an online dating experience.
Okay, good. Got you.
Whitney
Marshall, yes, you are the expert. Yes, you own yes to 50. But if you were having success the traditional way, which way would be your preference?
In a perfect scenario, it would be meeting somebody at work.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
In a professional setting, because then I get to see how they are out in the world, and not just how they operate in their personal lives.
Yeah, got you. And Ariel Paredes, what would be your preference?
I mean, ideally for me would be an organic situation, where I meet them, bump into them at an event, a party, or through friends. But listen, I don't want to block my blessings, you know what I mean? So I'm open to digital dating. I'm on it. I'm begrudgingly, I'm on it.
Yeah.
But the ideal dream would be I see you, we lock eyes, and that's it.
Yeah. I asked that because I just really want to get a sense. This is not a huge poll, but it certainly represents what women still want. I think we some of us are being forced to shift. I mean, God forbid, if I were to ever think about going back on the market, clearly I'm gonna have the preference of traditional, but I'll have no say. I gotta go where the fish is swimming and try this approach. It's a fact. But it would be heartbreaking for me, because I feel as though I'm being forced to choose a process that's not necessarily natural for me. But I ain't gonna find nobody if I go to the club, clearly, or to church or whatever, because there seems to be a shortage of eligible heterosexual dudes. Would you say that?
No.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that.
Wow.
Yeah. No. Okay. And also, we have to be positive here. We need to have an abundance mindset.
Exactly. I like that.
I mean,
I like that. I'm just asking the questions.
Sure. I think online dating is liberating. Yes, sure. It sucks that that's how we have to meet people these days.
Yeah.
But again, it is what it is. So we just have to deal with it and accept it, embrace it, and move forward, right? So I think it's liberating because you have so many different options.
So hold on, we're going into the benefits now, which is what I need. What are the benefits of online dating?
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, I'll throw out one benefit. One benefit is that you have an array of men to choose from. And you may get exposed to men you would never have met in your own social circles had you not had the opportunity to date online, right? So you can date up, you can date down, you can date across, you can date wherever. But it gives you even more of an opportunity to be in control of your life by being more intentional about the types of men you meet and ultimately end up dating.
Yeah.
I think what you said there is an interesting point. You have to be intentional if you are to use that method of dating. You have to be intentional in order. Yeah.
You know, I just had a thought, and I think a lot of us dated digitally. The digital equipment was the phone. Because even though I met my husband in person, I spoke to him for several months before I went on a date with him. What's the difference? I see Sanjoni shaking her head. You don't really go head in with the men that you eventually marry to. You spend a great time talking on phones and stuff and just talking to see if you like what they do. Would you say that? So this is perhaps the same thing. Go ahead.
But Basha, I would say that, when you virtually are dating or talking to somebody, it's mostly you've seen their picture and that's and you've read a brief bio that they've mentioned, and that's on certain parameters for you to kind of be like, okay, I'll swipe I don't know, whatever it is, left or right, and then and kind of go talking to them, or add them to the filter where
but I'm saying, wouldn't you not go on the date? But I think you would go on a date after you talk on the phone with Whitney Marshall, and you see if there's an interest there, and then you agree to meet, correct?
Okay, so I would say one negative thing about online dating is a lot of people rely on text. A lot of people these days.
See, I didn't know that. Yes. I don't like that at all. I don't like that.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
I'm out.
But at the same time, well, no, never mind. It's okay.
But
I think back on many things.
Okay, so I was just gonna say what Badger was talking about is like using the phone is like technology mediates the communication, right? It facilitates the communication. So the phone did that. These apps do that. Texting, all of those just tools that we use to connect with other people. Yeah. So maybe
it's all communication.
Right, it is communication, but then depending on the tool you use, that's going to determine what the quality of your relationship.
Yeah.
I think the difference with speaking on a phone, like what our parents did when we started, and what you did, there's still an opportunity to get to know the person, see if that person is compassionate, etc. There's an absence of that when you communicate with brief texts. It's just succinct. They even use acronyms. Like for me personally, that's a turnoff. I mean, I'm 46, so I need to see that you can construct.
That's right. Have a sentence. The emojis.
It's like WYD. You literally sometimes I'm like, I don't want to have to be Googling
what is this
acronyms to communicate with you.
What I will say too, though, about the texting is, so I personally, I enjoy talking on the phone with people, and I think communicating the way you like to communicate to that person, it helps you to weed out people who are going to be a good match for you. So if you tell somebody that first of all, I tell the women in my group to, like, if a guy has not asked you out within the first 2 weeks of y'all texting on an app, then keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Yes.
Wow.
Keep it moving. And then also, before you even meet up, if you tell the guy, hey, I prefer to talk on the phone, give me a call, and he doesn't,
Keep it
not your
moving.
person.
Yeah,
Right?
he's looking for a booty call.
Yeah, or just isn't willing to meet you where you are. So
That's not your future.
yeah,
Next.
yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
I think my experience on the apps is, because you're texting, that's how it's kind of communicating. And for me, I don't want to go back and forth for so long texting. I don't have time for that. So for me, it's kind of like, if there's a mutual bit of attraction, I want to meet you quickly because I want to see, I don't even want to talk to you on the phone. I don't want to, because if I don't see you in person, I want to see that energy in person. And if we connect, then I'm like, I want to keep going and then we can talk. But I don't want to go back and forth. And I don't want to spend time talking to you on the phone if we haven't met, because I might see you in person and be like, So yeah, just personally, for me, are we meeting? Let's grab coffee, let's grab tea, and I would not commit to dinner, because if you don't,
I think I've just found my new calling. I think I've just found my new calling, ladies' announcement. And I think what digital dating is missing is a woman like me. Like I need to be that woman who goes through all of the, what is it, the cactus and the and filters out, because I would know my woman and what they're looking for. And I need to be, because you see a lot of people, celebrities who date at a very exclusive level where you have to declare your credit score and your bank accounts. They have somebody like me. So I need to be the person for the professional women who don't have access to that particular budget to have a screener go through and
you could use artificial intelligence with machine learning.
Can you please stop killing my new business model that I'm announcing on television?
But Basia, that model exists. The model exists, right?
So why people not using it?
It's matchmaking, right?
It's matchmaking, but it's expensive. If you go to that level, that's expensive.
Well, I'm saying that if I have to come put on these boots and dust off these boots and come back out, I need that person. Because I will, let me tell you something about me. I will beat that cactus man if he show up, right? And he have gingivitis.
And gingivitis.
And he is like 5 inches shorter than my, he getting licks. I don't waste time. I'm like, bloop, bloop, bloop. What the hell you wasting time? I don't waste time. Like, guys, like, anyway.
Basha, one thing I do want to say, one tip for women out there, this is a new revelation that we've made this past year. When you're looking at dating profiles, look to see if, it can go one of two ways. Look to see if the guy is talking about what he's looking for. So if he's talking about the type of partner he's looking for, or if he's talking about himself and what his interests are and what he is into.
I couldn't tell you that 20 years ago. Serious.
Well, but a lot of people, but that's like a subtle nuance that a lot of people do not pay attention to. And what I want to say is you want to go for the guy who is telling you what his interests are, what he likes to do, telling you about himself, not the person who's like, I need a woman who knows how to blah, 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 blah. You don't want that. And
I got you.
That's a sign of somebody who has self-esteem.
Right, but then I have a question on that, because don't we as women in our write-up, wouldn't we put the things that we want? Like we want a guy.
Not everybody does.
XYZ,
Yeah, I'm not putting it in my profile.
Not everybody does. Not everybody does. And that's like, And I'm saying that because what we do every year is we do an assessment of the women's dating profiles and have guys look at them and give them feedback and tell them. And it's really interesting. It's about 50-50 in terms of women being like, I need a man who, and those who are actually focused on themselves.
Ladies, thank you for showing up. I think I have to run because I need to go and work hard at my marriage. I'm joking. I just can't do this. I have to go and work harder at this marriage because this dating is hard.
Sanjoni says he had a point.
Yes, go ahead. I was kidding, by the way. But
I just thought of adding this. You know how she explained about the different sort of evaluations one does in terms of texting and the time period of understanding somebody is going to pursue further. these are kind of things in socialization we would teach and learn from parents when you would meet someone in person. Read body language cues, understand if a person's, when do you hold hands and what does this interpret? How does this move forward? And I think that sort of an education and socialization has moved in the virtual dating to understanding, oh my God, what is the interpretation of this text message? And then you have like so many of those. And I think that's where a person like me, I can't fit in. Like
I can't fit in.
I have a question, and I have a question based on using the prevalence of social media. How do you distinguish a narcissist, right? Because when using social media, there's an element of promoting yourself, etc. So for the the doctors or even
Ariel
the dating specialists,
I think you might be able to tell us.
Yeah,
Ariel,
how do you, because you're using that medium, yet how do you distinguish? What tools, what tips can you,
Ariel,
I think that there's, there's sneaky narcissists, which you're never going to be able to tell. I mean, they're charming. They're, that's how they like pull you in. But I mean, I think there's the obvious ones, especially in LA dating profiles, when they're like, here I am posing in front of my Bugatti, or here I am in Vegas. You know what I mean? Like here I am. It's always like showy, like, oh, here's my jewelry, whatever. Things that you're just like,
oh my crib, his crib, right? Or somebody else.
Did you say his? I was like, yeah, that's right, crib. I was like, what did you say? A credit? I was like, his credit.
Crib.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's that flashiness, which some people it attracts. They're like, ooh, look at him on this private jet. Yes, because they'll be like, I'm living that PJ life, but it's like, are you, or were you a guest on somebody's private jet? It's just that, but it's the sneaky ones that you don't know until you see them in person. But there's the obvious, blatant ones, right? I mean, I think Whitney Marshall, you can like kind of attest to that. There's obvious, but some people like that.
Yeah,
it attracts them.
I co-sign what you say.
I actually spoke to someone today too, from the UK, because she's like, please, you need to have a part 2 to this digital dating thing, and we do because we're running out of time.
Yeah,
and we didn't even talk about cues like who pays for what, and she was saying to me that in the UK, and I don't know, Vanessa Anderson, who also spends a lot of time there, can tell you that, there's a whole understanding that the guy pays for parts of this bill and you pay for that part. And I'm like, I ain't want no part of that date.
Yeah.
I cannot date in the UK because if you're going to take this queen out and you can't pay for my date.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think that's I think that's a cultural thing in some European countries, like in Sweden as well. It's very common for the men. It's 50-50. However, the men I know, I would say a native Swede, it's 50-50. Obviously, if they're Swedish, but they come from, different heritage, etc., like, African, Caribbean, Latino, whatever. Obviously, there's an element of I'm the man, I will pay for the meal, etc. So that is true, that there's a cultural element in that. So that's quite prevalent in, I would say, also in the UK and
that
Sweden.
Is crazy.
Sweden. Yes. So
there's also this change coming with the wave of feminism, that a lot of women want to pay up on their dates and share an equal round on the table.
No, I appreciate that part, Sanjoni Sessi. I am not saying that I would not pay for my gentleman on a date. I take my husband on a date and I pay for him. And before he became my husband, I paid for him.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But I am not going to be there counting who had the salad and who had the... I'm like, I'm too grown for that. Like, but either take the date or you take the date. Pay for it. We ain't going to be counting salad and who had the cosmopolitan. Are you nuts? No, please.
But I was going to say, even in the US, though, that whole thing about paying for the date, just building on what everyone is saying, it's here too. Not just, sometimes you're with somebody and you're watching them at the end of the meal and they're watching you, right? And it's like, who's going to make the first move?
No.
No, seriously, it's here. And then if you think about, even with the same young people with this hookup culture and cancel culture, right? If I'm a young person, I'm going out on a date, and I'm a male going out with a female, I expect her to pay her half of the meal.
If the outcome
I'm dealing with young people every day.
Wow.
So I have to share. I think I have to share. My husband being a pure and total gentleman. My first date, he knew. So he'd asked me that, I know you can pay for your share of the food, but can I take the opportunity to pay for yours as well today?
Oh,
and I said,
you see, that is a gentleman because he knows your views on feminism and so on. So he was, and look how sweetly he did it. He didn't even want to cross your feminist views. He wanted you to know that, is it okay? That's a gentleman. Now, that's what we're looking for. That's a gentleman. No, that really, when I heard that today, that really irritated me. Because if you know anything about me, don't mess with my money. You don't expect to take me on a date and ask me to pay for you. You're nuts. No.
For Sweden specifically, it's based on that equal 50-50. And I would say, I'm not excusing it, but that's just with the meals. But then you have the men actually being equally involved in the kids, cooking and all that stuff. Like if you read up on Sweden, it's like,
no, and that I understand. You are married. Yeah. You're going on a first date and somebody's watching you too. Yeah. I like the approach that Javishu had. Like, would you mind if I did? That is so classy. Yeah. Like, but no, I'm getting a headache. So what statistic is there to suggest that couples who meet in person, this is my last question, have more of a successful track record at love than those who meet online? I mean, because 60% of participants have a positive experience finding a romantic partner online. You need to know that. The statistic shows that 60% have a positive experience.
But 60% of who and of what? And
I don't know.
Like, what is that 60%? Like, really? Like,
that's for Whitney Marshall and you guys to tell us. Because guess what? I learned so much today on my own podcast about digital dating that I didn't even know in my entire lifetime. You see? So
I think it can be successful. I have a lot of friends who've met and are married and have met online. I mean, I think like any relationship, I think when the two people are right, it's right and it fits. I don't necessarily think, you have a lot more 50 first dates, when you're doing these online, and some are, I'd say 40 out of the 50 might be terrible, but I think that it can definitely be successful.
And last but not least, I just want us to give a quick tip on how to screen a potential dating candidate. You meet this person, you swipe. How do you screen? How do you know what's the best way to know that, okay, this is a safe person? What I would say, let's meet in a very public place, and have a friend follow you there. And, that would be my tip. What would be yours, Whitney Marshall? Ask question.
I have a bunch.
Top
one. I've been in. Oh, okay. I would like to encourage women to do a virtual FaceTime before they meet in person. That's something that I've been.
I agree with that.
Into. And I love it because I don't have to leave my house. And you can tell a lot about a person when you see them on camera like this. So that's my tip for screening.
I love that. And then we're going to meet at a public place and my girlfriend is going to drive me there and she's going to wait.
Well, getaway car in person. It does help to arrive early.
Yes.
And it does help to have the same go-to spot. That is a place where you might know the bartender or know there, and you can always tell them ahead of time that you're on a date if you want to, and then
that's a great tip.
Those are great tips, but I want to go quickly to our open mic because we're running out of time. I want to start. Sanjoni, do you have an open mic discussion for us?
Yes, I wanted to talk about how the Tokyo Paralympics, India has finished with 19 medals this time.
Oh, very good. Yeah, go India.
Yes, and with that, I just wanted to touch upon quickly about inclusion and support. That we need to start understanding that people with disabilities, we are here to recognize their ability in this case and validate it. And I think that's what this clearly shows. So I think we really need to move towards more inclusivity and support.
I love it, especially as a mom of a child who is differently able. I am fully in support of what you just said. We have another one coming in from Dr. Eastman, open mic.
Yes, so mine deals with China. So China actually got most of the medals for the Paralympics. And they have now instituted a law that their children or the young people can only have 3 hours of gaming, video game time per week.
I
think they've broken it down per week, meaning weekend. It's not even a week. Weekend. And I think it's like an hour Friday, hour Saturday, hour Sunday kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My hubby just instituted that law here for weekends as well. For the boys. I mean, it's crazy. They get addicted to these screens, you know? Yeah. No, I like that sound off. Ladies, well done. This is what I love about this podcast. You know, our women pull up from all around the globe. My queens pull up, and we have, you know, today we have Vanessa Anderson. Tell the people where you're at. Where you're coming to us from?
I'm in Sweden. I was in Cape Town over the weekend. I had a fantastic time, but I'm back in Sweden. Yes.
Nice. Sanjoni City, tell them where you're at, Queen.
I'm in India.
Dr. Dryana Eastman, tell the people where you're at.
I'm in Tennessee.
Nice. And Whitney Marshall, the 50 dating girl, where you at?
New York.
And last but not least, our Latina queen coming to us from
Los Angeles, California, sunny LA.
Sunny LA. Yes. I love it. And yours truly, I'm in the A, otherwise known as Atlanta, Georgia. Yes, I'm a beach. Okay. I want to advise you guys to go follow all these women on their social handles. It's in the body of the article. I should have introduced them with their social handles, but you're seeing it on the screen. How about that? You like digital dating? You know how to read the screen, right? Go follow them. And just in case you have any love interests, these are fabulous women. I've already screened them. You have no problem. Make sure you are 3 inches higher than your picture.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Love it.
Anyway, I wish we could go on and on, but all good things must come to an end. This is the reason we created this podcast, to bring outstanding women from around the world together. Despite how we may all feel individually or collectively, as women, all we really want to do is go out there and find real love. All we want is love. You feel me? I happen to know people who found each other online from different countries, and they're still happily married today. And that's a fact. It is important that we are all honest with ourselves and that we're open to change. It can work for some, not all, but it can work for some. As Dr. Rhonda McCohen said a few weeks ago in a previous episode, she said, digital technology is simply responding to the changes in human behavior. So it's not the technology leading the change. People obviously want to go on these platforms to find. So they created the technology to meet the need of the people. Yeah. This type of digital platform would not work if people were not going online. So clearly, that's where you find your fish. Ladies, most of all, remember to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you can't love another person. You feel me? Right. On that note, remember to be careful what you say about each other, because it takes one to know one. And as my boy Rossi says, ladies, you did a great job. Thank you for watching.
Thank you
for listening.
So
it's your girl Basia. Remember to live the life you want, love, and love the life you live. Ciao. See you guys next week.